Assalamu alaikum. This is Btv-Chattogram welcoming you to the English news from Btv-Chattogram. Let's begin with the headlines. Former Prime Minister and BNP chairperson Begum Khaleda Zia passes away. President and Chief Advisor express profound condolence janaza after Zohar prayers tomorrow. Three-day state mourning on death of Khaleda Zia. Public holiday tomorrow. Chief Advisor calls upon to cooperate in carrying out formalities, including janaza. Advisory Council's special meeting on Khaleda Zia's death held. Special prayers to be held in mosque and other places of worship tomorrow. BNP announces 7-day program on Khaleda Zia's demise, including hoisting of black flags, Quran recitation, and dua mahfil. Begum Khaleda Zia, glorious chapter, uncompromising politician facing constant adversity in politics of Bangladesh. And news of Khaleda Zia's passing away get extensive coverage in global media. Viewers, those were the headlines. Now moving on to the details. Bangladesh's first women prime minister, BNP chairperson, and a symbol of uncompromising leadership, Begum Khaleda Zia has passed away. Inna illahi wa inna ilahi rajiun. After a prolonged battle with serious illness, repeated hospitalizations, and the highest efforts by local and foreign physicians, she breathed her last at dawn today at Evercare Hospital in the capital. Her death was cast a deep shadow of mourning over the country's political arena. Family members were beside her in the final moments. They include her elder son and BNP acting chairperson Tariq Rahman, his wife Dr. Zubaida Rahman, granddaughter Zaima Rahman, the wife of her younger son Arafat Rahman Koko, Shormila Rahman Shithi, Khaleda Zia's younger brother Shamim Eskandar, and his wife, elder sister Selina Islam, and other relatives. BNP Secretary General Mirza Fakhrul Islam Alamgir and members of the medical board were also present at the hospital at that time. According to physicians, Begum Khaleda Zia had been suffering from multiple complex and chronic illnesses for a very long period. These included liver cirrhosis, kidney complications, heart disease, high blood pressure, diabetes, arthritis, and pulmonary problems. Most recently, pneumonia and a lung infection further worsened her condition. The infection spread to various organs, and at one stage, her heart ceased functioning. For her treatment, several medical boards comprising both local and foreign physicians were formed at different times. Specialist doctors from abroad also came to Dhaka to oversee her treatment. Despite imprisonment, illness, and prolonged political adversity, Khaleda Zia remained one of the most significant figures in Bangladesh's political arena. She was widely known for her uncompromising role in anti-autocracy movements, parliamentary politics, and the struggle to safeguard democratic rights. Her death today has cast a pall of mourning over the political arena, marking the end of a long and consequential chapter in the country's politics through this heartbreaking departure. Khaleda Zia's namaz-e janaza will be held tomorrow. President Mohammad Shahabuddin and Chief Advisor Professor Muhammad Yunus have expressed deep shock and sorrow at the death of former Prime Minister and BNP chairperson Begum Khaleda Zia. In a condolence message, the president said, Begum Khaleda Zia's uncompromising role in establishing democracy and the rights of the people will be remembered in the political history of Bangladesh. The president prayed for the eternal peace of her departed soul and conveyed his profound sympathy to the bereaved family members and leaders and activists of her party. Meanwhile, the chief advisor of the interim government, Professor Muhammad Yunus, has expressed profound sorrow at the death of Begum Khaleda Zia, three-time former prime minister, symbol of the democratic movement and chairperson of the BNP. In a condolence message, the chief advisor said that with the passing of Begum Khaleda Zia, the nation has lost a great guardian. The chief advisor said he is deeply saddened and grief-stricken by her death. Professor Yunus stated that Begum Khaleda Zia was not merely the leader of a political party, she represented an important chapter in the history of Bangladesh. Considering her contributions, her long struggle, and the deep public sentiment towards her, the government declared her a very, very important person of the state earlier this month. The chief advisor said that her role in the struggle to establish democracy, a multi-party political culture, and the rights of the people in Bangladesh will be remembered forever. The nation will remember her contributions to the country and its people with respect. Despite political differences, her long political journey dedicated to national welfare, her people-oriented leadership, and her firm resolve always showed the way. With her death, the country has lost an experienced and proven spokes and stateswoman. The chief advisor noted that three-time former Prime Minister Begum Khaleda Zia was Bangladesh's first female prime minister and the chairperson of the BNP who led the struggle to restore democracy against autocracy. The chief advisor expressed deep condolences to the bereaved family of Begum Khaleda Zia and to the leaders and activists of her party. On this day of irreparable loss for the nation, he called upon the people of the country to remain calm and patient and requested everyone to pray and offer supplications for Begum Khaleda Zia from their respective positions. Chief Advisor Professor Muhammad Yunus announced a three-day state mourning from tomorrow at the death of former Prime Minister and BNP chairperson Begum Khaleda Zia. Besides, he also declared a general holiday tomorrow for the day of her namaz-e-janaza. Chief Advisor Professor Yunus announced the decision in a televised address to the nation today, describing Begum Khaleda Zia as a dignified figure in Bangladesh's political history. The chief advisor said her extraordinary role in the struggle to establish democracy, a multi-party political culture, and the rights of the people will remain indelibly etched in history. Her uncompromising leadership against autocracy and fascism repeatedly guided the nation to the path of democracy and inspired the nation for freedom. The chief advisor said, adding that the nation will forever remember her illustrious contributions to the country and its people with due respect.
দেশের গণতান্ত্রিক রাজনীতির শীর্ষ নেত্রী, সাবেক প্রধানমন্ত্রী ও বিএনপি চেয়ারপারসন বেগম খালেদা জিয়ার ইন্তেকালে আমরা গভীরভাবে শোকাহত ও মর্মাহত। তার মৃত্যুতে জাতি এক মহান অভিভাবককে হারিয়েছে। এই গভীর শোকের মুহূর্তে আমি তার পরিবারের সদস্যবৃন্দ, রাজনৈতিক সহকর্মী এবং অগণিত কর্মী সমর্থকদের প্রতি সমগ্র জাতির পক্ষ থেকে আন্তরিক সমবেদনা জানাচ্ছি। বেগম খালেদা জিয়া ছিলেন বাংলাদেশের রাজনীতিতে এক পরম মহিমান্বিত ব্যক্তিত্ব। গণতন্ত্র, বহুদলীয় রাজনৈতিক সংস্কৃতি এবং জনগণের অধিকার প্রতিষ্ঠার সংগ্রামে তার অসামান্য ভূমিকা ইতিহাসে অম্লান হয়ে থাকবে। স্বৈরাচার ও ফ্যাসিবাদের বিরুদ্ধে তার আপসহীন নেতৃত্ব বারবার জাতিকে গণতন্ত্রহীন পরিস্থিতি থেকে উত্তরণের পথ দেখিয়েছে এবং মুক্তির প্রেরণা জুগিয়েছে। দেশ ও জাতির প্রতি তার সমুজ্জ্বল অবদান জাতি চিরকাল শ্রদ্ধার সাথে স্মরণ করবে। এই শোকাবহ মুহূর্তে আপনাদের প্রতি আমার উদাত্ত আহ্বান, আসুন আমরা সবাই যার যার অবস্থান থেকে মহান আল্লাহর দরবারে বেগম খালেদা জিয়ার বিদেহী আত্মার মাগফিরাত কামনা করি। একই সঙ্গে জাতির এই কঠিন সময়ে আমরা যেন ঐক্যবদ্ধ থাকি। শোকের এই সময়ে কেউ যেন অস্থিতিশীলতা বা নাশকতার অপচেষ্টা চালাতে না পারে, সে বিষয়ে আমি সবাইকে সজাগ থাকার আহ্বান জানাচ্ছি। এই সময়ে আমাদের সবার দায়িত্বশীল ভূমিকা পালন করা অত্যন্ত জরুরি। সাবেক প্রধানমন্ত্রী বেগম খালেদা জিয়ার মৃত্যুতে আমি 3 দিনের রাষ্ট্রীয় শোক এবং আগামীকাল তার নামাজে জানাজার দিনে একদিনের সাধারণ ছুটি ঘোষণা করছি। আমি জানি আপনারা সবাই এই সময়ে অনেক আবেগাপ্লুত। আমি আশা করছি শোকের এই সময়ে আপনারা ধৈর্যের পরিচয় দেবেন এবং তার জানাজা সহ সকল আনুষ্ঠানিকতা পালনে সংশ্লিষ্ট সবাইকে সহযোগিতা করবেন।
A special meeting of the Advisory Council was held at the State Guest House, Jamuna today. Chief Advisor Professor Muhammad Yunus declared and chaired the meeting. At the outset of the meeting, members of the Council of Advisors observed a 1-minute silence to pay tribute to the 3-time former Prime Minister, uncompromising leader of the democratic movement and BNP chairperson Begum Khaleda Zia. They also offered prayers seeking forgiveness for Begum Khaleda Zia's departed soul. Religious Affairs Advisor Dr. A.F.M. Khalid Hussain conducted the munajat. The Council of Advisors decided to observe 3 days of state mourning starting from tomorrow over the death of Begum Khaleda Zia and declare a 1-day general holiday tomorrow. The meeting also adopted a condolence motion over Khaleda Zia's death. Environment, Forest and Climate Change and Information and Broadcasting Advisor Saida Rizwana Hassan read out the motion. During the 3 days of state mourning, the national flag will be flown at half-mast at all government, semi-government, autonomous institutions, educational institutions, all public and private buildings, as well as at Bangladesh missions abroad. In addition, special prayers and munajat will be arranged tomorrow at every mosque across the country seeking forgiveness for the departed soul of Begum Khaleda Zia, and special prayers will also be organized at places of worship of other religions. According to the decision of the meeting, condolence books will be opened at Bangladesh missions abroad at the death of the former Prime Minister. BNP Secretary General Mirza Fakhrul Islam Alamgir attended the meeting at a special invitation. Mirza Fakhrul Islam Alamgir informed the special meeting of the Council of Advisors that BNP chairperson Begum Khaleda Zia will be laid to eternal rest beside her husband, Shohid President Zia Rahman's grave in the city. The Namaja Janaja of Begum Khaleda Zia will be held at the Jatiyo Shongshad South Plaza and the adjoining Manik Mia Avenue 2 p.m. tomorrow. He said on behalf of Begum Khaleda Zia's family and the BNP, Mirza Fakhrul expressed gratitude to the interim government and thanked the chief advisor for providing all necessary support, including security arrangements for Begum Khaleda Zia. At the meeting, Professor Yunus assured that the government would provide all necessary assistance regarding the janaza and burial of the former Prime Minister. The chief advisor said at this critical time for the nation, when unity is essential for all of us, her presence was deeply needed. Her passing is a great loss for the nation. After the meeting, law advisor Professor Dr. Asif Nazrul briefed the media in front of the Jamuna.
সবাই সিদ্ধান্ত হয় যে বাংলাদেশে যত দূতাবাস আছে পৃথিবীর বিভিন্ন প্রান্তে সেখানে শোক বই খোলা হবে। সভায় বিশেষ আমন্ত্রণে অংশ নেন বিএনপির মহাসচিব জনাব মির্জা ফখরুল ইসলাম আলমগীর। তিনি সাবেক প্রধানমন্ত্রী বেগম খালেদা জিয়ার পক্ষ থেকে বেগম খালেদা জিয়ার পরিবার এবং দলের পক্ষ থেকে অন্তর্বর্তীকালীন সরকারের প্রতি কৃতজ্ঞতা প্রকাশ করেন এবং বেগম জিয়ার নিরাপত্তা সহ সকল ক্ষেত্রে প্রয়োজনীয় সহযোগিতা প্রদান করার জন্য ধন্যবাদ জানান। মির্জা ফখরুল ইসলাম আলমগীর সাহেব আমাদের সভাকে অবহিত করেন যে আগামীকাল বুধবার বাদ জোহর জাতীয় সংসদের দক্ষিণ প্লাজা এবং এর সংলগ্ন মানিক মিয়া এভিনিউতে বেগম খালেদা জিয়ার জানাজা অনুষ্ঠিত হবে। জানাজার পর তাকে শহীদ রাষ্ট্রপতি, বীর মুক্তিযোদ্ধা রাষ্ট্রপতি জিয়াউর রহমানের পাশে দাফন করা হবে। আজকে সভায় বেগম জিয়ার দাফন এবং জানাজা সম্পর্কিত বিষয়ে সরকার সব ধরনের সহযোগিতা প্রদান করবে বলে জানিয়েছেন মাননীয় প্রধান উপদেষ্টা। মাননীয় প্রধান উপদেষ্টা ডক্টর মোহাম্মদ ইউনূস সভায় বেগম জিয়ার বিষয়ে বিভিন্ন স্মৃতিচারণ করেন। উনি এটা বারবার বলেছেন যে আজকে এরকম এই জাতির এই বিশেষ মুহূর্তে আমাদের বেগম খালেদা জিয়ার উপস্থিতি অনেক প্রয়োজন ছিল। গোটা জাতি ওনার জন্য দোয়া করেছে, আল্লাহর ইচ্ছা উনি চলে গেছেন। কিন্তু বাংলাদেশের ইতিহাসে, বাংলাদেশের প্রতিটি মানুষের হৃদয়ে, বাংলাদেশের প্রতিটি আত্মমর্যাদাশীল গণতন্ত্রকামী দেশপ্রেমিক মানুষের হৃদয়ে ওনার অবস্থান অক্ষয় অবিনশ্বর হয়ে থাকবে।
BNP Secretary General Mirza Fakhrul Islam Alamgir has called on the countrymen to maintain maximum discipline during the funeral prayers and burial of three-time Prime Minister Begum Khaleda Zia. He said that everyone should be aware that no rules are broken or disruptions are caused to the program in any way. He made this call at a briefing after the party's standing committee meeting at the chairperson's political office in Gulshan this afternoon. Earlier, an emergency meeting of the Standing Committee was held at the party's office in Gulshan in the capital following the death of BNP chairperson Begum Khaleda Zia. Chaired by BNP's acting chairperson Tariq Rahman, the meeting was attended by the party's Secretary General Mirza Fakhrul Islam Alamgir, Standing Committee members Dr. Khondokar Musharraf Hussain, Mirza Abbas, Babu Ishwar Chandra Roy, Dr. Abdul Moin Khan, and Nuzrul Islam Khan. Following the death of BNP chairperson and former Prime Minister Begum Khaleda Zia, the BNP has announced a 7-day mourning along with various programs. This was announced at an emergency press conference held this morning at Evercare Hospital. On behalf of the BNP, the party's senior joint secretary general Ruhul Kabir Rizvi announced the programs. According to the programs, the Bangladesh Nationalist Party will observe 7 days of mourning over the death of Khaleda Zia. During this period, black flags will be hoisted for 7 days at the party's central office as well as at all party offices across the country. All BNP leaders and activists have been instructed to wear black badges for 7 days. The programs also include the Khatme Quran and prayer gatherings at every BNP office for 7 days. In addition, the BNP has decided to open condolence books at its Gulshan, Bolton, and district offices following the death of Begum Khaleda Zia. From a housewife to one of the most uncompromising figures on the toughest stage of history, this is Begum Khaleda Zia. Amid personal grief and relentless adversity, she never bowed to forces of oppression. Transforming the harsh blows of time into strength, she took to the streets with firm resolve and emerged as an uncompromising leader on the question of democracy. When Khaleda Zia assumed office as Prime Minister for the first time in 1991, she became the second female Prime Minister in the Muslim world. Begum Khaleda Zia was born on 15th August in 1945 in a prominent Muslim family in Dinajpur district. Her father, Iskandar Mojumdar, was a respected businessman and a well-regarded figure in society. From an early age, Khaleda Zia's life was shaped by modesty, discipline, and strong family values. She grew up as a graceful, polite, and family-oriented young woman with a calm yet determined personality. Her personal life took a pivotal turn in 1960 when she married Zia Rahman, then an officer in the Pakistan Army. This marriage was not just a union of families, but also marked the beginning of an inevitable political journey that would later place Khaleda Zia at the center of Bangladesh's political landscape. In 1981, the brutal assassination of President Zia Rahman marked a period of deep personal grief in her life. Following her husband's death, at a time when BNP faced political uncertainty, Khaleda Zia heeded the call of party activists and assumed the position of BNP chairperson in 1983. This marked the beginning of her active political career. She later emerged as an uncompromising leader, leading the pro-democracy movement against military ruler Hussein Mohammad Ershad. In 1991, Begum Khaleda Zia assumed office as Bangladesh's Prime Minister for her first time, restoring the country to the path of parliamentary democracy. She later held the premiership and premiership for 2 more terms. Steering the nation with a firm hand, her political journey was fraught with calmness, challenges, imprisonment, illness, prolonged isolation, but she never compromised her principles to pressure. In the annals of contemporary world politics, her courageous leadership stands alongside those of history's most memorable female leaders. BNP chairperson and former Prime Minister Khaleda Zia will be laid to rest with state honors, according to Cabinet Secretary Sheikh Abdul Rashid. He made the remarks to journalists at the Secretariat this morning after an emergency meeting of the Advisory Council, stating that Khaleda Zia will be buried with state honors. The Cabinet Secretary said she will be laid to rest beside the grave of late President Ziaur Rahman at Sher-e-Bangla Nagar in the capital. He also said that Khaleda Zia's funeral prayers will be held tomorrow after Zohar prayers at the South Plaza of the Parliament. Her body will remain at Evercare Hospital today and will be taken from there to the Parliament premises tomorrow morning. When BNP founder and Shuhid President Ziaur Rahman was assassinated in May 1981, Khaleda Zia was merely a housewife. Far from being politically inclined, she was rarely seen at political events. At the request of senior party leaders, Khaleda Zia entered politics in January 1982. Through the anti-autocracy movement and the struggle for democracy, she emerged as an uncompromising national leader. Within a decade, she became prime minister. During her tenure, the country moved forward on the path of development. People loved Begum Khaleda Zia wholeheartedly for her honesty and firmness. Wherever and whenever she contested elections, she won overwhelmingly, securing victory in as many as 5 constituencies at a time. She never faced a defeat in electoral politics and served as prime minister 3 times. Khaleda Zia was born on August 15, 1945 in Dinajpur district to Iskandar Majumdar and Tayeba Majumdar. Her ancestral home is in the southeastern district of Feni. She married Ziaur Rahman in 1960. Born into a respectable Muslim family, Begum Zia possessed an inevitable personality. Even in politics, she never practiced vengeance. She was imprisoned in false cases under the fascist Hasina regime and was evicted from her home with nothing but the clothes she wore. Yet, there was not a trace of bitterness in Khaleda Zia's heart. 8 years ago, on July 15, 2017, when Khaleda Zia left for London for medical treatment, many believed she would never return to the country, but by then, fascism has taken a deep root. Despite knowing she would be jailed in false cases, Begum Zia returned home within 2 months. Even in her 70s, she did everything she could to protect the motherland from Honmic forces. When the Awami League became all-consuming and labeled opposing forces as militants, it was Khaleda Zia's leadership that thwarted those attempts. Even earlier, Begum Zia had become known as an uncompromising leader. She prioritized principles and ethics over political maneuvering. She made no compromises in the movement against Ershad's autocratic rule and stood firm even under repression during the caretaker regime of Moinuddin Fakhruddin. While her political rivals left the country, she never bowed down. During an era when fascist media flooded the airwaves with slander against Khaleda Zia and her family, the new generation came to her and known her as a lone warrior who lost her husband at a very young age, saw her 2 sons forced into exile, endured the death of her younger son, and later imprisonment in her old age. Every era has its own icon. Begum Zia is the icon of this era. Even amid the ruthless modern stranglehold of fascism, she fought with everything she had. No one could buy her. Indeed, at the end of her life, Begum Khaleda Zia witnessed victory. After the mass uprising of 2024, she emerged as the undisputed guardian of a new Bangladesh. Begum Zia will remain a legend in the history of Bangladesh to come. Why Begum Khaleda Zia is called as an uncompromising leader is a question many of new generation may struggle to answer. This is hardly surprising, as over the past 16 years there has been repeated efforts to erase the role of the Zia family from the country's history. The people of Bangladesh did not bestow the title of uncompromising leader on Begum Khaleda Zia without reason. She played a vital role in the anti-autocracy movement, which led to the restoration of democracy in 1991 and her becoming the country's first female prime minister. Through her political acumen, sacrifice, courage, and uncompromising stance, Khaleda Zia established herself as the center of the country's democratic struggle. Her political career has repeatedly demonstrated that she remained steadfast not for the sake of power, but for principles, never bowing to authoritarianism and consistently standing as the voice of the people in defense of democracy. Although she was not born into a political family, at a critically decisive moment in history, she emerged as one of the country's most influential political figures. After President Zia Rahman was assassinated in 1981, Begum Khaleda Zia's life was struck by a profound tragedy. Even amid the personal grief of losing her husband, she realized that the BNP founded by Shohid Zia needed a courageous, popular, and widely acceptable leader to carry it forward. Responding to the demands of the time, she took on that difficult responsibility. In 1986, when military ruler Hussein Mohammad Ershad arranged a national election, the Awami League, BNP, and Jamaat-e-Islami initially decided to boycott the polls. However, the Awami League and Jamaat eventually broke promise and took part in the election. At the time, many critics branded the Awami League as a national betrayer for joining the polls. Many political analysts argue that Khaleda Zia and the BNP reached the height of their popularity precisely because they refused to compromise with Ershad during the 1986 election. As she could not be swayed by the lure of power or personal gain, Khaleda Zia came to the known from that period onward as an uncompromising leader. Despite facing repression and compromises and conspiracies, she never left the country. Even amid serious illness, her unwavering resolve has earned her special recognition as an uncompromising national leader. The news of Khaleda Zia's passing away has covered in media outlets worldwide with proper coverage. Raater was among the first to report the news globally with the headline, Khaleda Zia, Bangladesh's first female prime minister, dies at 80. The news agency described Khaleda Zia as a dominant political figure who rose to power in 1991 and went on to develop a bitter rivalry with Sheikh Hasina, with the two leaders trading power for decades. The British media BBC focused on Khaleda Zia's personal and political transformation, putting the headline, Khaleda Zia, slain leader's widow, who went on to lead Bangladesh, in its report. The broadcaster recalled how she was once described as a shy housewife married to Zia Rahman, a key independence-era figure who later became president before stepping into the politics following his assassination in 1981. Britain's leading newspaper Guardian described her as a defining figure of an entire political era. It wrote, Khaleda Zia, the first female prime minister of Bangladesh, whose long rivalry with Sheikh Hasina defined the country's politics for a generation, has died aged 80. Qatar-based broadcaster Al Jazeera highlighted the public reaction inside Bangladesh, running the headline, Bangladesh mourns former leader Khaleda Zia, who died aged 80. It described her as Bangladesh's first female prime minister and a towering figure in the country's often turbulent political landscape. USA's The Washington Post emphasized her rivalry with Sheikh Hasina with the headline, Khaleda Zia, former Bangladeshi prime minister and arch-rival of Hasina, dies at 80, in its report. The paper said the rivalry between the two leaders shaped Bangladesh's politics for a generation. Pakistan's leading Daily Dawn reported with the headline, headline, Khaleda Zia, Bangladesh's first female prime minister, dies at 80 after prolonged illness. India's leading media Times of India highlighted regional reactions, focusing on Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's tribute and recalling his past meeting with Khaleda Zia. The report noted Modi's remarks on Khaleda Zia's role in Bangladesh's development and in strengthening bilateral ties between the two neighbors. The second namaz-e-janaza of former news editor of Bangladesh television Mohammad Mainuddin was held at Btv-Chattogram Center premises today. Chattogram Center General Manager Muhammad Imam Hussain, news editor Muhammad Zahidul Islam, and all branch officials participated in the namaz-e-janaza. Later, his body was taken to Halishahar B block in the city for laying him to eternal rest. Earlier, the first namaz-e-janaza of the deceased was held at the premises of BTV Bhavan in Rampura in the capital yesterday afternoon. Former BTV News editor Muhammad Mainuddin passed away while undergoing treatment at a hospital in the capital yesterday morning.